Good morning, Denise Dryden. It's a Sunday morning weekly video, and we are on the cusp of the major conjunction and the winter solstice. So this is going to be a big day, and so bring some of this information that we're going to talk about today into how's it going to affect you on solstice through the holidays and as you go into 2021. Today we're going to talk about the concept of well played, right? And we live in a culture that's been manipulated, lied to, directed, used for decades, whether it's through our media, whether it's through our politics, whether it's through our corporate advertising, whether it, we can start to go through the layers of sort of these agendas. Let's like push over here, we're going to make you buy this, we're going to make you like this car, so what happens is that we're a little calloused. We're a little hardened. We have these levels of like, everybody's got an agenda on us, right? And we know that that's okay out there. We're used to that out there. But what we forget is that everything starts within the family system. It starts in the family system with how we learn from our parents and how our parents learned from their grandparents and how we imprint our children. And so whether you have children of your own, or whether they're grown and gone, or whether they are still infants, or you don't have children and you can go back to how you were parented. This is about, how we pass generational information along. So we bring this tainted sort of moving things around agenda into our homes. And, we duplicate it because we're sort of the micro level of what's going on, right? So the focus today is what exists in our culture and our lives out there and in our relationships, is also an awareness of that it's here. It's here within us. How big is that? How small is that? What do you believe? How did you come about with those belief systems? So I work mostly with families who are going through the individuation process with their teens. Whether they're teens like 15 or maybe 16, 17, 18, getting ready to decide what they're going to do after they're finished with high school, or through maybe going on to college, maybe post-college. So it's like that 18, maybe 16 to 25. So that individuation is often challenging for family systems because we have parental patterns, we have teen patterns, we have, and this struggle to sort of separate, right? So I usually step in as a coach when there's a big imbalance of power, when one is usurping more power over the other, whether it's the teen wanting to break away and creating chaos, or the parents holding on really tight, or both of them, and they're just at it, right? So these power struggles boil down to control for grades, control for behavior, control for choices, control about the preparation for their future, how they're going to make their money, how are they going to make their living. And it's also control over the way that we deal with stressors, right? So I brought this card, which is the Seven of Wands, which is like the more we hold in our lives, the harder it gets, and all of our attention is up here. And when we're in these stressors, we aren't prepared for things to sort of pop and fall out from underneath us. It's a really interesting card when we're talking about stress of overscheduling, over agendas, over expectations, all of that stuff, right? So what I notice is the ways that we each respond to someone or something that doesn't want to be controlled or shaped or led or forced or guided. So someone who lies and manipulates is kind of like, well, yeah, there's patterns in there. We want to go find out what those are about, because these deep family patterns are in our relationships. And as I said, they duplicate in a larger picture, but they start at home. So this is what we want to go for in our approach, okay? So nobody wants to be a vehicle for someone else to get what they want. No one wants to be used, whether it's our closest friends, whether it's our children, whether it's our bosses. No one likes that. And the fact is that our children hide things from us. They learn strategies for when and where and how to create the perfect time to get what they want. They sort of hone in on it, right? So teens know that it's better to ask for something, you know, and there's these horrific, not horrific, I call them horrific because it's kind of like when you really nail it down and you realize how you get played as a parent, right? So something might look like, I have to absolutely wait until mom's had 2 glasses of wine. I had a kid that would even suggest his parents had a happy hour when he had something big he wanted to go do. And then he would just ply them with drinks and then wait till they were just tipsy enough and say, hey, can I borrow the car? I need to go over and do this. I want to go to Blockbuster. I want to, you know, this is old, right? And they were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And then he was just out the door, and then he didn't have to deal with it because they were usually to bed early, and he didn't have to deal with it till the next morning, and then he just lied. Right? So, you know, our kids know when it's the right thing. They know when to ask you, and like maybe after they've helped with some chores. Maybe they even come up and they give you a really big hug and they say, I really love hanging out with you. You want to go get a coffee together? And then boom, they drop this is what I need. So that's after, let's see what else. And they also know how to come in when you're distracted and try to get around it, right? Try to get around it. So what we know is that they're always going to do this. They're going to avoid, and they're going to be strategic in how they come in. So they also know that there are times when you don't even try, when mom or dad's really angry. When either parent, and again, it's within the context of the family system, so it could be any parent, when there's anger, agitation, or stress, when there's no trust and they're highly triggered, or when they're fighting, you know, and sometimes even kids can use that, which is get parent to parent to start going at it, and then drive a wedge right down the middle and go do what you want to do. It's called splitting, right? So all this brings to the surface, which is what is in the family system, and our children observe how to manipulate us, and we teach them how to manipulate, and we can be conscious of this or not, right? So as adults, when we're awake and we're conscious and we're aware, we actually notice the subtle shifts in behavior. Like, you know, there's some really interesting behavior going on up there in that room today. Or eye contact, no eye contact. We observe the strategies and the plans, and we're kind of like, oh wow, look at him. He's going to do this. Oh, he hasn't taken the trash out in 2 weeks. I wonder what he wants. And so we start to notice the agendas, and then we can choose what we want to do about it. So here's the other card. This is the 3 of Wands, which is how we sort of relax everything and we experience. And this little gold is the experiencing. We can experience the tree. We can experience our bodies. We can experience a lot of different things, right? Okay, so these are unconscious patterns, and when we open up and we pay attention to them, we actually are in choice. So much of our own anger and frustration comes from when we feel used or manipulated or lied to, right? We don't like it. And to be caught off guard, or to be hurt by something that a child or a partner did to you. And so these things sort of eat at us, right? And they're there. And we're either aware of it or we're not aware of it. And when we get into that hurt place, we go into victim, we go into blame, and in the drama triangle, we adopt these reactive behaviors where we either come in attack mode, or we're the protector, or we're the victim. Yet, when we're awake and we're paying attention, we're handling things, we're managing things, we're interacting with skills, with confidence, and with wisdom. And we hold our boundaries naturally, kind of like watching a kid try to figure out how to turn on the hose, or how to climb up, you know, young toddler, how to climb up on furniture. You can be angry about that, like I told you to get off the couch and keep moving things up higher, or you can just smile and go like, look at her go. She is determined to figure out how to climb on that couch. So you observe them and you watch them coordinate their mind and their body, and they try things out, and you're like, oh, I can redirect them. I can build their skill sets. I have wisdom in watching what's going on, because I love these. These are the starseed cards. You know, we are all here to have sort of an earth experience. So we can decide, do we want to teach them through this earth experience, or do we want to get frustrated and stop them as they're going along? So with learning adulthood kids, those 16 to 25, we observe, we gather, we notice, we resist reacting, and we watch their skills. We know what we can do and what we can't do. So when this is the goal, and you know that this is the goal, and they don't want to deal with this goal, and they turn around and they come in with something to placate, a really nice gift, a really nice behavior, something that's less than what you want or what you've asked for, then what you get to do is say, I love that, and here's this. What are we going to do about this? So what we do is we enjoy the strategy on their end. We enjoy watching them move things around, and we teach them, like, that was a great move I just saw you do right there. So when they navigate and they choose and they adapt and they learn and they do something, we recognize it. And we say, that was one of the best played techniques I've seen you do in a long time. I really liked the way you did this and did that, because that was helpful. And so what we do is kind of like we're teaching a kid how to play chess, right? That move, every time you do that, that's going to come up against this. You're probably going to lose the game. Or, oh, wow, you opened something up and it changed everything. So what we want to do is we want to be able to say, well played. You did that really well. And that helps. So part of what I do every week is I give you some tips. And I've got 6 of them for you today. So the very first one is that in every situation and challenge, there's a sequence of steps that we take to solve something. We do. We know what we need. We do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. But that's our way. That doesn't necessarily mean that our way of solving challenges is the same for somebody else. Right? Makes sense? So what we want to do is we don't want to imprint our problem-solving skills onto our children and say, this is the way you do that. And if you don't do it this way, then you fail. Because we each have elements that are at work, the way we approach things, we have different thought processes, we have different levels of creativity. So number 1 is to let them discover their own way of addressing challenges and be flexible with even our partners and even ourselves. Like, I've always done it this way. I wonder what happens if I try something different. Okay. Number 2, use your observation skills. Notice what's going on. Is this urgent? What's the timeline? Like, do I need to speed things up because we've got a certain timeline? And is that timeline real, or is it artificial based on something that you've imprinted on them? How much time do they really need? How much space do they need? And how much space do I need? How can I let go of a timeline, right? And still let them, teach the skills and let them figure something out. So know what you notice, what's all going on here, and how much do I really have to work with? Then we know what our parameters are, right? Number 3, ground. Ground. Deepen your connection with yourself. If you are stressed, if you are in this place, you are not willing to observe. You can't observe anybody. You can't see them. You can't notice what's going on. You are just in survival reaction. If you can ground and you can get to that place where you are fully present, right? Then what we know is that you can't be emotionally disrupted. You can't be taken off course. You are open and you can adapt. So when we're grounded, we're present. And when we're present, we're more flexible and we have the ability to understand what's going on a much broader level. Number 4, know your boundaries. Know the definitions of what needs to be done. Know what you want and also what it can be, and then know when it comes in short and you're like, I still need this done. This is like half of the job, and how do we get to the full part, right? So know when these are being pushed and what you can do. Again, know what happens when someone's trying to manipulate and offer a sweet little distraction from the main issue. Know that at your core. Number 5, use your voice. Speak your truth. Say things like, I notice, I wonder. I noticed that there's this issue and I wonder what you're going to do about it. Or I wonder how you're going to solve it, right? And you hold to what you know needs to be addressed, because as the wise parent, as the wise partner, as the wise colleague, as the wise boss, you can identify it, but you know that they have to figure out how they're going to get there themselves, because you're teaching empowerment, you're teaching skills, you're bringing them online. And number 6 is to recognize the effort and the skills and the tricks and the inventiveness and the humor. And, you know, ultimately you get to decide, are you going to be mad and angry about the way that this went down? Or are you going to be happy and curious and watch, like, oh, wow, look at this. Look at her go. I have, during my youngest, when she was in high school, had this amazing ability on Bluebird snow days to figure out exactly what every teacher needed and go in way before school started and offer a latte here, or a baked piece of coffee cake, or cookies, or a bagel or cream cheese, or extra time in another area, get her work, and then take off and be on the hill when the ski lifts opened. And I thought, man, well done. You figured out the system. You know what you need without penalizing yourself, without lying to anybody, without manipulating in a way where someone feels like they've been used, because you hold your end up, right? So we use wisdom, and we use patience, and we use appreciation, and we use entertainment, which is, I loved watching you solve that problem. Well done. So this is the kind of stuff that I do each week, and you can find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm on Facebook on Weekly right now. So you have a wonderful winter solstice tomorrow. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I'll see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.